Fox Sports.
How many costumes is left, man?
Bucher is joining us now.
Yeah.
Rick, how impressive was that Warriors win without Steph?
Incredibly impressive, considering that, what did we decide? Buddy Hield was Robin?
He said he's not trying to be Robin, he's Batman.
Batman was wearing the wrong shorts at one point and had to change. There was even a wardrobe malfunction. No, it was incredibly impressive. Not only that this is how bad the Minnesota Timberwolves were. Steph went and scored another bucket before he left the floor. That's how bad they were. He scored with his hamstring strained. And then Draymond Green took over. So they not only maintained the 10-point lead, they expanded it to 14, and they maintained it at 13 till halftime. And then it was just a matter of holding on. But no, incredibly impressive. I think we talked about the margin of error for the Warriors not being that great, and certainly losing someone like Steph Curry erases whatever margin that they had. So I just, across the board, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves had a lot to do with the way this game went. But the fact that Draymond steps up and hits 2 threes, I think that just emboldened the entire team to believe that they could get this still done, even though Steph was in the locker room.
I was thoroughly impressed. Like Rick said, the Warriors is one, the 4 teams remaining in the Western Conference, only one team can withstand an injury, I believe, and still kind of advance in the playoffs, and that's probably the OKC Thunder. When I look at Denver, they can't lose their star. Clearly the Warriors lost their star and was able to win. That's what makes it impressive, because I think they're one of the few teams that I said, hey, if the Warriors are going to go far in the playoffs, they have to be completely healthy, because they don't have any size, they don't have any depth, so they need all hands on deck. And to lose Steph, their main engine to the whip, and still pull this one out on the road versus a Timberwolves team who look like they were the favorite to come out the West based on what we saw versus the Lakers, I was impressed thoroughly. So I don't know if they can maintain this without Steph. Clearly, when you lose your star, because I remember us after we won the championship, we lost KG the next year. We couldn't withstand that long term. We won a lot of games, but just long term, we wasn't going to go too far in the playoffs. So hopefully Steph can come back, but definitely an impressive win to lose your leader, your leading scorer, your Hall of Famer, all-timer, and still get the win on the road game 1.
It was very impressive. I felt the entire time, though, when he was out, you could just sense after that first quarter, because that was the only time they was down was the first quarter. They never surrendered the lead outside the first quarter. That was only 2 points.
Not even close.
Not even close.
They kept it. I think it got to 8, which might have been the closest.
8 or 9.
Yep.
So the entire time, you could just tell that whether it was Buddy or Jimmy, or even to a degree, the way that Draymond was just playing basketball. I know he had 5 fouls and got in a little bit of foul trouble, which was a little bit of scariness for them, but nobody else in the starting lineup was in foul trouble. And you can sense that they smell blood in the water against Minnesota. And Minnesota set down Rudy Gobert. You could tell that they didn't feel good about that matchup. And then Ant-Man obviously didn't start cooking until late in the fourth quarter, but by then it was way too late. He wasn't comfortable doing some of the things that we saw him do early on against the Lakers. Now, if you go back and you look at that last game against the Lakers, for instance, he didn't play great basketball, and he carried that over into this series, and this is why I'm sure the coach said what he said about him at the end of the game. But it's Golden State's for the taking, I believe, really, Joy. I think when I look at it, despite not even having a full, healthy roster, now that you look up and Curry's gone, because you still got Jimmy buckets. And that, for whatever weird reason, he comes into the playoffs and he just becomes a different guy.
Yeah, talking about the series as a whole in this game, I think we can zoom out and have a different conversation. This game specifically is impressive because you can easily get demoralized and Steph goes out. Yep. It gets in your head, okay, our guy is gone, it's a hamstring injury, we know how those go, it's only rest that can fix that, so who knows how long that's really going to be. Everything starts to spiral. Now, the Timberwolves did them a really kind favor of shooting horribly once again, so that definitely played a factor, which is a different conversation. But to get this win, to make sure that you keep that stranglehold on the lead when you get it, that is championship basketball, and that really give it speaks to the culture that they have there, that someone like a Steph could go out and they stay focused mid-game to get this done and to steal this game one in the midst of all that. Jimmy, obviously, to me, is a huge factor in that, as well as Draymond, because we know that Jimmy has taken teams that, I don't want to say are devoid of talent, but certainly are not as talented as we would hope them to be, all the way to the finals. So when we zoom out to the series itself, I think it's a different conversation than just this game, because you get a demoralizing injury like that mid-game to your superstar and your leader. It's hard to bounce back from. Now, on to the Timberwolves. I mean, yeah, Golden State had 18 offensive rebounds. We talked yesterday about some of the advantages that the Timberwolves had, and one of them was height. So you don't want to see that kind of effort when you have that sort of advantage. And the shooting was 0 of 15 for threes in the first half. They were 1 of 21 from three to start. Pretty brutal. But, Paul, do you like Chris Finch calling out Anthony Edwards?
I mean, I love it. I mean, this is your star player. Listen, we're in the second round, and you're playing with the intensity of it being like a regular season game. We're in the second round of the playoffs. He's absolutely right. Listen, the stakes went up. Once you get past the first round, the stakes went up. You have to bring a different type of intensity into the second round. You can't go in here and say, hey, I'm going to let the game come to me. No, you're the leader of the team. You got to go out here and set the tone. I knew when I played that every round presented its different challenges, but I knew that I had to set the tone for my team every game. And that's what being a leader is all about. You are the guy we look to when things don't go right. You're the guy we look to for energy. You are the inspiration of this team. Every week during the playoffs and the regular season, it's always a conversation is this guy the next? Is he next? Well, if he's going to be next, you got to show up every day and be consistent with that. And I think he understands that for the most part, but he can't have lapses like this. Yeah, it's going to be nights your shot not going to be falling. I get it. But there's other things you can do to inspire your teammate. He didn't play well in game versus the Lakers in the closeout game, but he played hard. He got in LeBron's face. He set the tone. He had an attitude on the court. And that's what you want to see now, because this is Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. You got to come with it. So I'm happy that his coach said some things. Obviously, he has a relationship that he can talk to the media about him like that. So let's see how that carries in the game, too.
Yeah, I love it, too, because it not only was deserved and necessary, but it does reflect the fact that Chris Finch isn't talking like that if he doesn't know that Ant isn't going to receive it the right way.
Right.
And Ant isn't the only one that he was willing to call out. If you watch even during the game, Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid or any of these guys aren't doing what needs to be done. Chris Finch has no problem going to them one-on-one and talking about it. And so Paul's exactly right. Anthony Edwards did not score his first bucket until 4 minutes into the second half. And all of the bad habits that I thought were behind him, that I praised him for in the Lakers series, where going to the cup, not getting a call, and still busting it back to play defense, not complaining to the referees, we saw all that in this game. It was all back to that. And half the time it looked like, at least early on, he was driving to get the call as opposed to make the bucket. And when the game first started, I couldn't help but reflect on the fact that he's talked a lot about spending the summer with Steph and learning to shoot the three better and all of that. And it was almost like he came out to kind of want to show he could go toe-to-toe with Steph on shooting threes. And I'm like, that's not what your advantage is here, and that's not what the Timberwolves need from you. So I just felt like his head, wherever it wasn't in the right place. And Chris Finch was right to call him out on it.
Maybe he's not a pure scorer.
We'll get to that.
That's a I mean, he's 1 of 16 from three in the last 2 games.
Would you like to ask me that?
Yes.
Read
I would like to read to you,
Okay.
Keyshawn Johnson. Do you like Chris Finch calling out Anthony Edwards?
If Anthony Edwards is okay with it, then I'm okay with it.
That's not what you said earlier,
But
Keith.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to what I said. I'm just saying, if he's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Do I think he's okay with it? No, I don't think he's okay with it.
No, you think
Because
no
no professional player wants to be called out publicly by no coach, no general manager, no president for the world to see or bring attention to what they already see, which is I had a bad game. I don't need Rick up here talking about, well, he's this, he's that, he should be doing this and that. If you're going to talk to me about my game, do it amongst the team.
Well, he probably did.
No, I understand that. And if he did do that, leave it there, though. You don't need to address the media to address the public and the fan base and television bobbleheads that's sitting around talking about exactly the way he played. I think it's, me personally, I think it's disrespectful. That's just me, though.
He called you a bobblehead, Paul.
Paul probably doesn't feel that way, but I do. Because you're not going what you going to get, man. You're not going to get any.
We know where this attitude comes from.
No, it's not an attitude. You're not serving the purpose by doing that. You're not going to get me to play well by doing that. If you went into the locker room and you gave me a riot act in the locker room in front of my teammates, I'm going to respect that more than you standing up there at a podium, whether they ask you the question or not, you answered it in such a way that I'm not going to respect that.
Maybe it did.
Okay?
And my guess is that if Chris Finch was coaching Keyshawn Johnson, he would know that he couldn't do that.
Yeah, that may be cool.
And therefore he
wouldn't. He probably
that.
think that he can do that right now, Rick, until he can't do it. Okay? Because if, as we see in the state of the NBA and current events in the NBA right now, coaches getting fired left and right. When they win championships a year later, they gone. He ain't won one yet alone have gotten there. So all I'm saying is you playing with a slippery slope with your star player on your team. You're making this decision to out him in the public. That's just me. But you can get the book. I thought you were going to get my bobblehead. Me too. I thought you were going to get the bobblehead. But you can go get the book.
Us bobbleheads.
And it's not. It has nothing to do with being selfish or anything like that. It's just I don't like it. It's just not cool. It's not cool at all.
But what is he supposed to say in this situation? Because Ant is the leader of the team. He's the face of the team.
It's a lot of different, like you always tell me, Joy.
We want to elevate him into the face of the league.
But like you always tell me, Joy, there's a different way you can approach certain things.
But just
and answer questions a certain way.
This is my thing too, Key. As a coach, just like more times than not, the coach is going up there praising you in front of the media.
I don't need you to praise me.
But he does.
But I don't need
like
you
when
to.
You play well, Ed carried us on his back, that terrific performance. Like he does that more times than not. So the one time he come in there when you don't play well, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Like it's like how many nights you gonna see Chris Finch? Because he's gonna get interviewed after every game. And most of the time, when they win, who gets the credit? Anthony Edwards. His name is going to get mentioned after every win.
I understand.
So, like, when he loses, you got to take it. Yeah. You got to be able to say, hey, my man guy didn't play well. My man got to step up. My man got to be a leader.
But that
and there's nothing wrong with that.
But, PP, that's not what he said.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't say that.
What did he say?
He didn't say that. Bad shot selection, we're not on the same page. All of that sort of stuff.
You gotta come out and set the tone. If your shot's not going, you still have to carry the energy.
Yeah.
If I have to talk to guys about having the right energy into an opening second round game, then we're not on the same page.
I mean, he didn't say what he really wanted to say. He said that.
You said what he wanted to say.
Like in practice, you playing like a bum. Like you should hear coaches in practice. Step it up. That language is just.
I'm okay. And I'm okay with him saying that in practice. I'm okay with him grilling me amongst my team and all that. Because if you went out there, or you went out there, Rick, or Joy, you went out there and said, if the coach was doing this, we would have did that, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Guess what, though? We gonna get crucified by the bobbleheads and everybody else. I just call them bobbleheads. That everybody else is gonna say.
Who's the bobbleheads? The reporters?
Us.
Did you? We're bobbleheads.
We're the bobbleheads.
You had a coach call you a bum in practice?
That's right. That's what I want to do.
I done had all type of stuff called to me in practice. Some of the stuff I done had, I can't even repeat. Because it'll get everybody in trouble.
All right, this is the only bobblehead on set.
But no, for real though. I just don't. I understand he may have a certain type of relationship with him as of right now, today, as we speak. But you know and I know, people have family and they have friends.
Sure.
That will seep into that. Want to finish it for me?
Yeah. They will get into his ear and say, you can't let him talk to you like that.
There you go. That's all I'm saying.
No, I get that.
Protect yourself.
I get that.
In these situations by not going out there and doing that.
But here's the reality. He is the leader of their team. He was 0 for 10. He had one point in the first half.
We all watched it.
He didn't score until there were 4 minutes in the third
We
quarter.
all watched the game. We saw it.
Understood. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are not going to win this series unless Anthony Edwards is a different player. And it's not even scoring.
But you can't-
It's just
And he's
being
also had back-to-back
aggressive.
games, like bad scoring
Yes.
games. But to Paul's point, at least in the last game where he wasn't contributing on the scoring side, he still brought the energy. You had an opportunity in this game. Steph Curry goes out. That's a big deal. That's a break in your favor.
We are in agreement on everything that everybody is saying. I just have a problem with him outing his superstar
So what should
to
he?
the public.
How should he have handled the
So
question
the coach should
about-
never give public
I would have
criticism.
to literally hear the question to be able to tell you how he should have handled it. But I can tell you this: he shouldn't have.
How should he have addressed Anthony Edwards' performance? If I'm asking you,
What did you think about Anthony Edwards' performance?
what do you think about the fact that Anthony Edwards only had 1 point in the first half?
I think we probably got to be a little more aggressive as a team.
We're going with the we.
What the hell you want me to say? You asked me a question, I'm giving you an answer. Now you're going to attack me
you
as
say,
if I'm him.
I don't know that saying that Anthony Edwards has to be more aggressive, that he's the leader of our team, is quite the insult. I mean, certainly people close to him can turn it into an insult, but to me, that's just the reality. He's 23 years old, he's young, but he's our best player, and we need him to be aggressive if we're going to have any hope of winning this series.
But
that, to me, is just the truth.
I mean, this had nothing to do with like I'm looking at. This had nothing to do with him not scoring. This was an effort
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I need that. That's something you can control as a player. You can't control
What you
misses
said.
and make, and that's what he said. And I have me as a player, I have no problem my coach doing that. You know what? That's gonna motivate me now. Now I'm about to go out here in game 2 and do something where he ain't gonna never have to say nothing again. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is a new school and a new generation, and guys are sensitive sometimes to when coaches give open criticism.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
all
I
I'm
mean,
saying. That's what I said,
yeah.
Rick. He's cool with it till he's not cool with it.
Yeah.
And you on a slippery slope when you messing around with one of the biggest stars in the NBA that's on your team, and you're not delivering the chip as a head coach. So at some point in time, they're gonna start looking at you.
I will tell you this:
100%.
the guys in that locker room that I know are behind Chris Finch and how he's handled Anthony Edwards.
I understand.
Like all the veterans know, they have a great young talent who can be very up and down, and they're all trying to squeeze the most that they can out of Ant. So it's not like Finch is out on an island talking this way. I guarantee you Mike Conley is talking to him the same way.
Yes, talking to him, not to you and me and her and him. There's a big difference there, Coach.
He answered the question.
Is there not a big difference?
I didn't think it was.
Us,
Yes.
look, hold on, look.
Yes.
Before Joy throws it to something else, is there not a difference what we do in our green room versus what we do here in our
Yeah,
conversation?
but sometimes it comes out here. Sometimes it gets out here.
Here as we do in the green room.
No, you don't want those. You wouldn't be able to watch us anymore.
Seems like calling somebody overrated
Overrated.
might just be the kiss of motivation you need. Where they call Josh Allen overrated, goes and wins an MVP. Halliburton has certainly not looked overrated this postseason. Did we overlook the Pacers, Rick?
I know I did, but they gave me reason to. I mean, they played the Pacers twice at the end of the season. The Cavs at the end of the season. Cavs rested all of their stars. They won in double overtime, and they won one by a bucket. And for a good part of the season, they looked like the team that I saw last year. And I know they went to the conference finals, but they played a Bucks team in the first round that didn't have Giannis and lost Damian Lillard halfway through. Then they played, who did they play in the next round? They played the Knicks team that they wore down. They played fast, and the Knicks had a ton of injuries.
Couple bad coaching decisions.
And then they got swept by the Celtics in the conference final. So I didn't believe that they were capable of this. But they've got a bunch of young guys who are for real, that people may not know outside of Indiana. But Andrew Nembhard, in his third or fourth year, is coming along. Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith. And then Ty Halliburton was playing with a bad hamstring last year, and he looks to be 100% healthy. So I look at them, and Rick Carlisle is coaching this team this year, unlike last year. So I see them, I was sleeping on them, but having seen what they are for real.
I think they're for real in this particular series. I don't think in the end, I don't think they're going to really be a match for Boston, but we'll get there next week or the week after or whatever it is. They're up 2-0. I think many people just looked at what Rick said based on how they played last year and the fact that many people around NBA circles don't feel that Halliburton is actually a guy. They just think he's just a guy dribbling the basketball up and down the court and, make some plays and that's pretty much it. But you get sucked into believing that based on listening to NBA guys and professionals that play with him every day, and you think that, oh, okay, he's not all that. But he showed up in times of need when he needed to, and the rest has been history for him. So he's up 2-0, and if I was him, I'd be celebrating being overrated.
Wow.
Paul?
Well, I didn't necessarily overlook them because I saw what they had a year ago. And I told you.
And I'll vouch for that. You've been behind them from the beginning. I've been saying
this team is dangerous. They got depth. They got coaching. They played the Celtics tight last year. Even though the Celtics swept them, I was like, this team is going to be dangerous. I thought this series would go 7. Unfortunate that Cleveland's dealing with injuries, so I know that this series is going to be over pretty soon because after a demoralizing Game 2 loss at home and a game they should have won, I don't see how they come back from that. But I love the Pacers. I love their depth. I love their coaching. I love Halliburton in the playoffs. He's shown me every year now that he steps up, his game elevates, and they're going to be a problem for whoever they face in the next round, whether it be the Celtics or the Knicks. Well, it will be the Celtics, so them versus the
Wait,
Celtics.
Hold on. You said either.
No, I said it will be the
Knicks.
Celtics in the conference.
Well,
finals.
kind of you said
After you caught yourself.
Kind of
I had to catch myself.
You had to catch yourself. So in other words,
caught yourself.
you're concerned.
There's a little
No,
hesitation.
I had to catch myself.
You're
No, but
concerned.
No, there's no concern.
With that being said,
He stuttered. Hey,
But that being said, Celtics and six.
I think we all clearly overlooked the Pacers. I mean, I will vouch for Paul as well. He's been giving them credit, but we just assumed that the Cavs were going to be playing
100%.
the Celtics in
100%.
the Eastern Conference Finals,
100%.
and rightfully so. I think the Cavs have had a tremendous regular season, and they're obviously not healthy now. But when you're looking at what happened yesterday, I mean, you got a 20-point lead.
It's demoralizing.
You're overcoming everything that you were dealing with. Everyone just assumed Pacers going to get this game.
But I've seen this before. I texted somebody with about 8 minutes left.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.